Okay, so let's set the stage. Imagine a conflict that has just kicked into high gear. Iran decides to challenge the United States, and the first response is incredibly fast and incredibly devastating. But what happens after that initial strike? Well, that's where things get really interesting. It all begins right here in the Strait of Hormuz, which is, one of the most critical shipping lanes on the entire planet. Iran makes a bold move. They try to shut down the strait, they start firing on oil tankers, and they hit U.S. bases. This is a direct challenge to American power, no question about it. The American response? It's just overwhelming. In less than 3 weeks, just 20 days, Iran's conventional military is essentially shattered. Its navy is wiped out. Its air defense network is completely neutralized. And even its leadership gets targeted. On the surface, it looks like a total, decisive victory. But, and this is really the whole point, the war is nowhere near over. It's just changed. What comes next is a totally different kind of fight. It's more complex, it's messier, and in a lot of ways, it's actually much harder. And that brings us to phase 2 of this conflict, a phase that is all about one thing: overwhelming force. The Pentagon starts moving this unbelievable amount of naval and air power into the region, digging in for a long, sustained campaign. I mean, just look at this number, 41%. That's nearly half of the entire operational U.S. Navy, all focused on this one region. Think about that. To pull this off, the Pentagon had to accept a massive risk, leaving a real gap in the Pacific. That alone tells you how serious they're taking this. And here's how that strategy looks in practice. We've got 3, count them, 3 aircraft carrier strike groups all operating at the same time. That's something we haven't seen since the invasion of Iraq back in 2003. They're creating this multi-front threat. You've got one in the Red Sea, another in the Arabian Sea, and a third heading for the Mediterranean. So no matter which way Iran looks, it's getting hit from a different angle. It just completely collapses their ability to plan a coherent defense. But, the carriers, as powerful as they are, aren't even the biggest problem for Iran. There's something else out there, lurking right under the surface, something that hasn't been officially announced, but is almost certainly there. We're talking about Ohio-class submarines. Each one of these is carrying up to 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles. For Iran's military planners, this is an absolute nightmare. You can't see them coming, you have no idea where they are, and you can't possibly plan for when they'll strike. It's this constant, invisible threat that creates a level of anxiety far worse than any visible enemy. So, all this military hardware is being brought to bear for a new strategy. The goal for this second phase is totally different. It's not just about blowing up the weapons Iran has now, it's about destroying Iran's ability to ever build them again. And you can see the shift in the tactics they're using. In phase 1, the U.S. was using these $2 million Tomahawk missiles, fired from a safe distance. Now, they're dropping cheap, precision-guided bombs. And the only reason they can do that is because Iran's air defenses have been so completely taken apart that American jets can now fly right up to their targets without much to worry about. A JDAM is basically just a guidance kit. It takes a standard, unguided, dumb bomb and turns it into a super accurate, all-weather, smart weapon. This is a huge deal because it means the U.S. has a much, much larger stockpile of precision weapons to use. They can keep this air campaign going for a very long time. And we're not just talking about standard bombs here. B-2 stealth bombers are flying missions carrying the GBU-57. This thing is the largest conventional bomb in the world. It's an absolute monster, and it was designed for one single purpose: to smash through up to 60 meters of reinforced concrete and earth to get at Iran's deepest, most protected underground facilities. Okay, but here's the thing. Despite all this incredible firepower being rained down, Iran is not giving up. It's fighting back in clever ways, and its asymmetric tactics are actually causing some real headaches for the United States. Iran's main counter-strategy is to use its geography. They have built these incredible tunnel systems buried deep inside mountains. So they have mobile missile launchers on rails. They roll out of a hidden entrance, they fire their missiles, and then they immediately duck back inside the safety of the mountain. Some of these tunnels are so deep that not even that giant GBU-57 bunker buster can reach them. And we know this strategy is working. A report from Bloomberg pointed out that even after a full week of nonstop, intense bombing, there was, and I'm quoting here, no significant decrease in the number of Iran's active ballistic missile launchers. They're playing a shell game, and they're still able to launch attacks across the Gulf. So that brings up the big question, right? With all this incredible military power, all this technology, what's really holding the U.S. back? What are the problems they're running into? Well, it really boils down to 5 major challenges. First, isolation. America's key allies have basically said no thanks, so the U.S. is doing this pretty much alone. Second is that Pacific gap we talked about. This huge naval presence creates a window of opportunity for China. Third is just pure endurance. The crew of the USS Ford has been deployed for 11 months. That is just not sustainable. Fourth, ammo. Those specialized bunker busters, there's not an infinite supply. And finally, geography. Iran is a huge, mountainous country. Trying to find every last hidden missile launcher is almost impossible. And what all this means is that the war has now settled into this long, grinding war of attrition. It's not about a quick, clean victory anymore. Now it's just a test of who can last longer. It's a battle of endurance, of logistics, and of pure national will. The American strategy is pretty clear at this point. Use continuous air and sea power to permanently cripple Iran's entire military-industrial base. The objective isn't just to destroy their ability to fight today, but to destroy their ability to ever rebuild it, and to do all of that without launching a very bloody and costly ground invasion. And that really brings us to the final, ultimate question that's going to decide how all of this ends. It's not about who has the fanciest weapons or the biggest navy. It comes down to something much simpler. Who is willing to pay the price for longer? In the end, that's what this all comes down to. History has shown us time and time again, whether in Afghanistan or Iraq, that it's not just technology that wins wars. It's this combination of time, national resolve, and a willingness to bear an incredible cost. And in this conflict, that's the lesson being put to the test all over again.